Hi everyone. I am going to use this time to attempt to figure out the Celery issue. So this is an example of the dashboard on render.com. And I'll be using some of their documentation to make sure that we're able to deploy some kind of app. Yeah. So let me see if I have an example application I could use. Yeah, probably the ones we covered during October period. Let's take a look at those. They might have some Celery. See, if they don't have Celery, we'll just make do with it. Yeah. So let me take a look. This one has some random stuff. All right, let's go ahead and create a virtual environment for it. Now, most of these codes we kind of shared them in the past. So in case you don't need to do exactly what I'm doing, just apply it to your resume project or any project that needs email. You just follow what we do today. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just making sure everything works locally. H1 server. Definitely we need to migrate something. So I'll do migrate. Then on server again. Visit the link. Do API/docs to access the Swagger documentation. Let's see. Try it out. Okay, this is basic authentication. Okay, all right. So I need to create a super user. Create super user. Since I'm going to use email, so I'm going to put my actual personal email. I'm gonna run the server one more time. Refresh my page here, or rather, yes, execute, and it will ask me for a password, which I'll then use. And then if I scroll down here, bad request because it's waiting for this fella here, the author. So turns out I might have to adjust some of the code for creation. Yeah, I think around here. If I remember correctly, is this virtual environment to pick the current one. To quickly Google, I think it has something to do with Django REST framework. We need to override the class. All right. And I am using Google on the other screen to see how to do that, right? Yeah. So they have this thing called create. Which is supposed to be done in the serializer. So let me go to the serializer, just update this particular thing for post. So def create self validated data. And here I plan to access the author. In other words, the person who's authenticated. I want to put them inside the post itself. Okay. So we'll create the object by typing post objects create, and then we'll pass the validated data. For now, I think because when you do object create and it was waiting for an author, it's going to complain. So what I'll do is in my validated data, author equals request user. Yeah, I'll do a bit of debugging just to make sure that thing exists by introducing my breakpoint like this. This breakpoint is very good for these types of scenarios. Then I return the object that is created, which should be the post. Okay, so let me go back to Postman. Sorry, not Postman, but Swagger UI. I'll repeat remove the author here because we don't want to always pass those types of things. All right, it is complaining. So I think I'll remove it from the expected field right here. Let's delete it. Delete this author. It will be added manually. Deleted it. My breakpoint is stuck. Now I can investigate it a little bit better. Okay. And for me, I think it is this value, or rather request. Maybe it comes in as self.request. Yeah. How do we get authenticated? Investigate self. Sometimes this information is in here. If it's not there, we'll just override it from the views area instead. Yeah, I think we do that instead of here. So I'm gonna get rid of this and go inside the views function and do some kind of magic here. All right, take a look again. You're not picking. That's why PyCharm is a bit superior to this. So maybe I will switch quickly to PyCharm to help with debugging this situation. I'm going to open this project using PyCharm. PWD. About lecture, that's where I started. And it is called blog API. That's it. I'm only gonna use it for debugging, and then we'll switch back to VS Code for visualizations, since some of us have issues when we see extra formatting by our friends at PyCharm. Right, so I'm interested in the views right here, and I wanted to introspect this class, so I'm going to enter it and see what I could possibly do. And yes, this is the one I'm going to manipulate the post request right there. Okay. So I'll type def post. Breakpoints, once again, I'll keep telling you that sometimes when we're programming, we get information immediately. For example, from AI use, right? You can ask AI, it gives you the answer straight away, right? But that will not always work. You know, at one point, things are gonna mess up. Let's run the server one more time. execute. Okay. L request you. So this is the one I want to pass. All right. That's the one I want to pass inside the this thing. So all right. So I'm also going to do a bit more extra research on the side to see what people typically do when they're overriding this Django REST framework class. Yeah. So override post. I don't want to do too much. I want to have the easiest solution, which I might find online. All right, so it looks like this part where you get a serializer is something you see in the documentation. So I'm just winging it. So and the serializer here is called post serializer. Yeah, I'm reading some documentation. See what people are doing here. So that's great. Arcs. Maybe it's inside the arcs. So I'll first investigate this area. Yeah, I think it's quags. Keyword arguments tend to be the easiest ones to manipulate in this scenario. But can we see the terminal? So print p quags or what's that? P request post. Interesting. See how it's very tempting to immediately use an AI, with the amount of time it takes to read documentation and think through things is a little bit possible, a bit hard, yeah. So I will try one other idea. Yep. Yeah, I'm Googling how to add whoever is authenticated to post. Yeah, so this is what they get users, sublet request.user. Interesting. And that one is API view. Right. So I'm in the wrong method. Turns out the method I'm supposed to be using is a method called def a form cleared. Yeah, this one. That's the method I'm supposed to update. And then serializer, save, author equals self request with user. That one. All right, let's test it out. The extra spaces. It has restarted. I go back to my Postman, hit execute, down, and yeah, some new errors have popped up. But we'll take a look at the new errors. The create method does not support serialized whatever by default. Right. So it looks like, you know, much of this code has been changed. Our serializers has been set to true somewhere. I'm gonna Google this and fix accordingly. Yeah. So let's go ahead. I'll Google that. See how people fix it. Right. So it turns out yeah, you want to wish I used a simpler API, but we already spent 15 minutes through it. So we'll just keep on moving. Numbers from our right nested serializers. Yeah, turns out for this to work, we need to create in the serializer of interest another method, also called create, for self validated data and I'm just gonna do this and put a breakpoint. That's I'm getting all sorts of information that you can see here. You know, here they're saying if it complains, you introduce this, blah blah blah. So I need to investigate a bit more. Yeah. So I'm going to try one more time. Hit execute. Go into my terminal and see what I can borrow from there. So validated data. That's what we get from the API. Yeah. And you'll notice the author is right here. See that? So what I'll do is I'm going to pop the author out. Remember, pop is a method that can be used in dictionary strict to remove or extract a key value pair. All right, so I'm going to pop out author equals validated data dot pop. I remove the author from it. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and create my post. Post equals post objects create, and I'll pass it the validated, you know, author equals author, then the validated data, the remaining data that is there, and that's what I'll return. I'll return like that. And I think that should work. albeit it might, you know, not be able to render the author properly. So we'll see. We'll see how it looks like at the end. Yeah. It's good to know who wrote this article. So we'll click execute. We'll scroll down. Okay. Obviously, some little errors are still persisting. Today, direct blah blah blah. So something about ratings. Yeah, I think there's too much information I'm sending. So I'm going to remove ratings for now. And of course, I just want quick victories. Yeah. We will definitely there's a lot missing. Okay, now this is okay. Let's see, I need to return the author of the post. So I'll do like this. Author. I'll try one more time. I'll hit execute. And then, yeah, it works. Yeah, because, typically when, now of course it is complaining about author. So what I'll do is I need to make it optional, right? So trying to make it optional. So we can pass maybe a serializer dot. I'm going to use this one here, serializer. Like a character field of sorts. Yeah. Required false. Okay. Because the API is complaining that it needs it and so on. And I don't want to give author. Okay, I'm already logged in. See that? It knows the author. That's why, And I guess if we want to be even more accurate, we can change this from, because it's a number, right? To maybe, what other options do they have? This text field, maybe a number field is there, right? Because it's returning, or a decimal field, but I think number field might be, if such a thing exists. Okay, they don't have number field, they have text. So char field is fine, I guess. Okay, so after all, these are characters. So required, false. Okay, good. So now that the basic API is there, we're quickly going to go through the render.com documentation on Django deployment. All right. So following the traditional way of things, Django REST framework, render.com, sorry, it will need some libraries, and we're going to connect or install psychopg. So we install psychopg2 binary, DJ database URL. I'm also going to install Celery and Django Celery as well. So let me quickly Google on the side how to install them. Okay, this is the official documentation for Django Celery and whatnot. So I'm going to quickly look for the installation instructions, which I think are at the top. Maybe here. Installation, introduction. To be very easy to get installation. You don't see that. Okay. Celery installation. Yeah. Obviously, there are lots of tutorials on YouTube that pop up as well. When you have time, you can always watch them. Okay. Where are you? Celery. It looks like just Celery is installed from what I'm seeing. Celery and something called Redis. I'll go ahead and do that. I will just do that. Celery and Redis as well. Okay. And I'll open my requirements text file, and just to keep things a bit lean, I'll type pip freeze followed by grep. Grep is a regular expression. It's how we search for things. Then I'll look for Celery, and I'll copy and paste this. Yes, people do like to type the whole freeze output, but sometimes it can cause conflicts. You might have different version numbers and so on, which can be a bit of a nightmare to deal with. We'll use a higher version of Celery, of Redis. I think this should be good. What else? We're also going to install the other dependencies from render.com, like psychopg. Just get that one. Paste. You'll also notice that you can use abbreviations when you grep stuff, right? You can use a shorter form. I'm going to also search for the other thing. I think they called it DJ database URL. So this one here. This will allow for dynamic values to be stored, dynamic values of your Postgres database. Yeah. So let me open up my settings.py file, and I have to update it to match how render.com does its things. So I'm following the documentation here. All right, so I'll import this at the beginning of the file, beginning of my settings py file, around here. And I'm going to replace the SQLite databases with what they're suggesting. So let's copy this, right? And replace what my database window says. Let's go ahead and do databases. This, I'll get rid of this, paste, like that. Okay. Obviously, it's going to look into my local version. This first part is the username of our local database. Second part is the password. So you might want to maybe pick this from a virtual environment as well. That is an option. And I think we can do that. So I'll call it, let me rename this, and then I'll transfer it to a virtual environment. I'll call this blog API deployment. After all, I'm trying to deploy this. Okay, then I'll get this value, the whole string, get it out, and I'll use os environ.get database URL. Okay, make sure the OS is imported because we are using part of the operating system, so I'll import it from the top. And I'm also going to install something called the .environment library. So it's not yet there, but we'll install it. .env import load config like this. Okay, that's one of the things we'll do. I'll go ahead, quickly create my environment variables file .env using the touch command. I'll create it at the root of my project, and in there I will say database underscore URL equals, I'll paste this. Yeah. The environment variables can take things with string format if you want to, or you can also get rid of the strings. I think it should still work. All right. Our next step is we need to install our python.env library, and we will do a pip freeze and search for it .env and update our requirements text file as well. So requirements text file, we'll update it. What else is missing? I think the database stuff is set up. Let us make sure it is still working. Python manage run server. Okay. Definitely butchering on the spelling, so I'll open my settings file. Maybe this is not there, but see, load.env, yeah? So it's the wrong method. Load.env. this. Run my server one more time. It should work, or it should talk about the, you know, this database not being there. I'll create it very quickly. Make sure you have an existing database. Okay. So using your typical way of accessing the database, you go inside the PSQL command line, create database, and you put the name of your database. You get out of your database by, /q. I think that's a /q. I mistake the two. We shall migrate. We shall create a super user just because in case I need to test it. Yeah, so again, admin. Yeah, something is stalling, so I'll use another terminal. I'll do Python manage. Create super user. Admin email will be my private email. I'll use a simple password like that. Yeah, simple passwords are good for your personal machine. Obviously, in the real world, please use very hard passwords to guess. Okay. Let's go ahead, run the server, run the server, make sure everything is working. Yeah. I'll go a few rounds of this. So execute. What you complaining about? Huh. Seems like it allows it without. Maybe it still recognizes me. Yeah. That's weird. Let's do this. Try it out. Hit execute. Okay. So yeah, these are some of the things created by. Yeah, for some strange reason, this is increasing. So I'm suspect. I don't have 2 users. Let's refresh this page. I'm going to authorize myself one more time. Admin and my password. Authorize, close it, refresh. Do another post request. I will edit out my author here. I don't want it. And ratings. I don't want these ones created. Doesn't make sense for you to create a blog post and, also a comment on it. Scroll down. All right, so author, admin. All right, let's do a get request right here. Execute. All right. I was seeing the wrong thing. So yes, it does recognize the author as the administrator as well. So everything I think checks out. Locally, it works. We are going to go ahead and set up a few more things like installing Brotli, white noise, which will support static assets. Static assets once again refers to your CSS and all that good stuff. I'll do a pip freeze, grep, white noise, and then I'll put it right here in my requirements text file. I'll update it. What else? Turns out in our settings file, we need to add a middleware. So we'll add a white noise.middleware.white noise. Remember, middleware traps or makes some slight changes between the request and the response that the customers receive when they're using our API or website. So we're just going to put it immediately after the security middleware. So let's go ahead. Let's look for settings. And I'm going to do a Control F to find my middleware. So I found it right there. And just below it, I'll paste white noise in there. What else? So next thing they're looking at is configurations of your settings. So we're going to look for this area. Maybe we already have a static area. So I'll do a Control F, static, All right, so we do have some static things happening. So next coding is going to happen towards the end of your file. All right, I'm going to copy and paste this, paste like that. Notice I've replaced the original one. The original one had no slash here, but I think it is important for these people. All right, and then debug this one here. Again, this is not safe, so I'm going to edit it out. Instead, I'll be using OS environ, and then I'll try to retrieve the debug mode. I forgot to do get. All right, so something like that, and do that. It is going to be in a string format, and all I need is to compare it against another one like this. Yeah? I've given it a default value. It will always be debugged true, but in our system, when we deploy this, if this is not there, it's going to be deployed as production. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll type debug equals true. And so this is just so to make sure everything is working. I'll go to my server, run the server. See that? Debug mode. Or I can test when it is not a debug mode. I'll stop this, run the server. And obviously, when you're in the debug mode, this is important. Allowed hosts, you must set values if debug is full. So let's look for the allowed hosts. This is dangerous, this one, what I've done, but because of time, we will allow that, okay? So yeah, star means allow any website to, I don't know, interact or, load these. Most times we want it to be explicit to our website, to our domain, okay? And in the future, you put your domain here, okay? All right, so let me go ahead, remove my debugger mode. I'll put it back to true since I'm on my computer. I'll run the server like this. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Next, we're going to install or create a build script in the root of our project. So build as such. I'll stop my terminal. I'll do a touch, build as such. I'll open my build as such, paste the code that they have given us. And most of this code is familiar. You do remember it. Now, this is the build script that will be run on the servers on the cloud at render.com. We need to change the mode using the chmod or change mode command. We're going to make it executable. A plus X is a code to refer to, you want the script to be executable. This will allow someone to just type a dot followed by a slash and a build. Then it will run the script. That's what it's doing internally. Okay, that's what it's doing internally. All right, so let's see. I think we have everything we need. All right, except for unicorn and gunicorn. So I'm going to copy this command, not both of them, since I like to clean my requirements text files. So I'm going to do a pip freeze and look for corn, rep corn, because both of them have corn in them. So I'm just gonna look for the two of them. I will open my requirements text file and put this at the bottom like this. The two of them are there. Yeah. All right, next we need to make sure it still works, right? Because we don't want this situation where, we say it works on our computer, but there was no proof. So we're just gonna paste that command right here and replace the word my site with the name of the folder that has this file ASGI. All right. So in the future, when you're lost, just look for where this file is located. And right now for us, our file is located in the project folder. The project, that. Now I can see this thing seems to be working. I'm going to quickly test it by visiting this URL. Okay, it does look like it knows about it. API, we'll take a look at the docs. I'll do a bit of, trying it out execute, scroll down, and voila, this is some of our information. You'll also see down here the response headers. The response header has a server right here that says UVCon. So everything works on our computer. Right. Next step is going to be to quickly create a repository. So github.com. I'll go ahead and create a repository. Let's create, oops, not a new issue, a new repository. Yeah, I'll choose myself as the owner. Blog API as an example. I'll make it public for now. This will be set as public. Or maybe I make it private. Let me make it private. So role, yeah. Been telling you about it. I'll create my repository and I'm going to first of all make sure there's nothing to commit basically, okay? So I didn't have a repository, I'm going to create one. Okay, so let me quickly check my ignore file. Let's make sure it's ignoring the typical stuff that gets ignored in Python. Okay, that looks good for me. I'm going to add everything. This will be my first commit. My first commit. And then I'll just go and copy and paste this part that says existing repository from command line. I'll copy it like this. This is a nice copy thing. Paste and push. That's it. So GitHub now has my code. Okay. Right now, I'm not going to use render.yaml for now. I just want to make sure it works normally. Then I'll do a manual deployment and things like that, that nature. Come on. But on second thought, what if we play with this render? Maybe we can do that, yeah? Because I read somewhere that it will be easy to add Celery. So I'm going to use this tool here. I'm just going to create a file, render.yaml at the root of our project, and then edit it a few little ways along the way, okay? So let's go and do that. So touch render.yml or YAML, render, paste, all right? Then adjust it, yeah? So my database, let's see, I don't know, I call it, yeah, blogdb, blog, then user, Postgres. If these things don't work, we will change them later on, yeah? We'll change this later on. The name of your website, just call it blog. Python build script will be in the presence. We replace this one here with, from my site, it's going to be called project, okay? Okay, database, I'll call it blogdb. That's it. I think it looks okay in general. It's okay in general. Yeah. We'll come back and create these databases shortly. So I'll add and commit it to GitHub. Add render YAML script. Here, hit push origin main. That's it. So now let's quickly head over. I'll right click, open the link, and create my database. Let me call it, how did I call it here? BlogDB. So BlogDB. I'm not going to add the database to the project, so I think these are fine. Name of the database will just be blog. Make sure everything is fine. Well, let me just call it blog.db, just keep it uniform, yeah? I think it will be easy. I'll also update this one is still blog.db, so this is fine. Okay, so everything's updated. Blog.db, blog.db, blog.db. I'll just call it that. DB. User, let's see, unspecified. I think it will work with what I've given it, Postgres, right? If it doesn't, we'll look at the errors and whatnot. We'll choose Frankfurt for the region. This one's not important. We'll choose the free option. I think they give us database for at least 1 month before they turn it off. All right. Yeah, create the database. Then I'll look for, it's taking some time to create it, but we'll be copying the internal database URL. So as it's building, let's see what else I need to do. Render, blah, blah, blah. So it says in the render dashboard, I go to a blueprints page. So I'll right click, new page, blueprints. Then I'll create a blueprint instance. It will try to connect to my database, and I'm going to connect to this one. See that? I connected to my blog API. Unique name for a blog, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, it's complaining about this not being valid. So let's see. Maybe I should actually change it. Right? Or is it? Let's try again. Retry. Oh, there was no database before, now it's there. Okay, it doesn't like the name, DB username. All right, let's go back here. Yeah, that's not the name. The name has changed. It is now called blog DB LAPD, almost like Los Angeles Police Department. That's the name of the database. I'll just copy like source. In your cases, your names might be different, so please check in that in case that happens. I'm just going to paste right here, database name. And here from database, I think this should be fine because it probably refers to this database name up here. We have changed the database name here, so I'm going to change it. Change name of DB, and I'll push my code. Push origin name. Let's go back to the blueprint page. We click retry, and it tries it one more time. I did it in the wrong place. Sorry, folks. It's supposed to be in here. And the database name is database name will be what was it? This one, the database name. Right. So yeah, it's important to read carefully the output. So it looks like this needed a database first so that you can get the configurations and dump them. So again, all right. Everything, put a commit message. Sure will be update credentials of DB. Push my code. Go back to my blueprint. Press retry. Yes. Now it looks like it's knows about it, right? That's a good sign. It looks like giving a blueprint name is important. So I think I'll just call it cloud deployments. And then I will deploy my blueprint. Like that. All right. Yeah, we have to be patient. It's possible that there'll be some other weird errors along the way and so on. Yeah. But let me read up here. All right, but it looks like that's it. From the blueprint, it will know to look for these maybe, but we'll see what the error shows up. I suspect I might have to go and add this key, the internal database URL. Okay, but let's see how it goes. Let's give it a few seconds or minutes to create for us the API. So as it's doing its business, I'm going to be adding Celery to this project. All right, so let's take a look. All right, Celery has been installed. So it looks like I'm supposed to create a file called Celery, a module called Celery in the same directory as my settings, and put in a bunch of stuff, right? Yeah. So I'll copy it straight from our friends at Celery, the actual website. All right, so let's look for where my settings are located. Settings. And I think they're located inside project. So at the root of this project, I'll create Celery like this, a PY, and then I'll copy and paste this stuff. I'll stop here, up to here, right? I don't want to put the task here. I understand that there's a better way of doing these tasks. So I'm using like an individual file and so on. But I think some people put it here just for debugging purposes. So yeah, sure, I can put it and maybe remove it later. We'll see how it goes, yeah? So that is there. The next step is you need to import this app in your Danda init file or module. This ensures that the app is loaded, that Celery is loaded and other things are loaded. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this 2 lines and put it in my Danda init in my project. In my project, the Danda init is right here. I'm going to copy paste it like this. Very good. And then let's see what else. This is just explanations of what's happening. And then the others are like ideas, The convention in Celery is to use tasks.py, share tasks. This one means they can be shared across different, you don't need to put it in one specific app, right? That's what the decorator does. You can create tasks without having any concrete application instance set up anywhere, which can be nice, situations like sharing emails and so on. Yeah. Awesome. So let us see. I am going to see. I'll create a dummy value, a shared task dummy one that just prints, yeah. But obviously, we wanted to send an email out as well. All right, let's take a look and see. All right, some errors have happened. So let's go take a look at why it failed. I'll click that. And then we see deploy logs. See why it failed. You're using static files. Yes, so turns out we need to provide those environment variables. I'm going to go and create that environment variable. It looks like with Blueprint, they give us those internal things automatically. So we're going to add one other one. Okay, new variable called debug, and it will be false. Save. and rebuild. That error we saw usually shows up when this last if statement in the settings py file is not run. This last one here, this one here. So we're just making sure we are covering the bases. All right, so as it's deploying, let me see, where was I? Maybe here. All right, so send email. Okay, so let's go ahead. We create a task. I'm going to put the task in my posts. So task.py. And I think it is singular, right? So we'll say, let me use post item. We'll just say send email. What does it expect? Expect a primary key. So user PK. Then this one will be a shared task, which is imported from Celery. All right, so I get my user. So user objects get PK equals user PK. Make sure it is imported. So I'm going to import this. And I think we're importing it from the config, yeah? Or, okay, I think I can allow this. I can allow this. And then what else? Maybe post ID. I need to get a post. So post equals post objects get ID equals post underscore ID. I make sure my post is imported. So I'm going to import it from the app. And then send email. There's another, I think Django gives us a nice send email functionality. So let me quickly Google it. Django email. And you'll find it in this documentation for Django. This one here. All right, so I'm going to borrow some ideas from here. I'll just send a string instead of a text. So let's see. It's called send mail. It needs a subject message and the from email and the person who's receiving it, and then so on. Yeah. So I'm going to send mail, open brackets, like this, and then I import it. Yeah. All right. So we're going to send mail to subject will just be hello. A message will be post has been created. Typically you want to write a lot more, right? So by user, oops, like this, and then I will just use this post. And this will be f strings, okay? Yeah. Why is it red? Comma. All right, so we're sending it to someone, message, and then from the email, right? And then the recipient lists the person who's going to receive the post. Right now, that happens to be me. So I'm putting my email here. But here you can also pick it up from a virtual from an environment variable, and then post user email. So interestingly, or sorry, not post user, post author was my model, post author.email. Interestingly enough, I am also the person who wrote the post. So it's like I'm receiving my own email, right? So that's how it will feel like. And looks like this is a list. So I need to put it inside of square brackets like this. that. So it's a list of people who are receiving email. In post, in VS Code, this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to look like. Yeah. All right, let's go to the posts. Make sure that they have Danda STRs. Okay, they do have Danda STRs. Yeah, that's awesome. My post has a Danda string, so it won't be weird when you know, an email like that is sent. Okay. All right, so now we need to hook this up, and I'm going to hook it up in maybe let's see, one of our serializers maybe. Yeah. As soon as the post is created, I'm just going to delay the post. Send, how do they do it? Let's take a look again at the documentation. Yes, this one here, send delay. So I'm going to say send email delay. I imported it, yeah, from tasks and email. Delay. I'm going to give it the because it takes in a user PK, which will be our author and the post ID. So author dot ID, comma, post dot ID, like that. All right. So let's run our projects. Let's make sure they're running. Run server, and in another screen, the command for Celery, right? So Celery is a very long command. So I think it's like this, followed by the name of the project. So in my case, my project is called project. So I replace that. So Celery-A followed by the name of your project, and this one for the workers, just to tell us where we are and so on. Okay. All right. So no module named proj. Let's see, I need to look for where that is being used. Right here. Sorry, I had some mistakes here in the Celery configuration. So I forgot to edit this one. I'm going to call it project. And then this one will also be project because that's the name of our project. Okay, making sure everything is fine. Okay, try one more time. All right, definitely some little errors here. Looks like it is not connecting to. Oh, right. Another setting I forgot was in the settings file, we are supposed to tell it what broker to use. The broker is how it's going to store the so-called it's how it's going to store these results and so on. Okay, so we are going to install the Redis one. So it's not here. So let me see if I can find the location. Yeah, I think this one will do for us. I'll copy this too. They are very important. Please check your old projects because we do have some of these things in our old projects. Okay, so I'm going to add it to the bottom of my settings file. Run it one more time, and yeah, now it looks a bit nice. Yeah, looks like it's working. The tasks are showing up right here. And then this one, we're going to manually restart it. Very good. Then I'm going to test the ability to send. The email won't work because I have not yet configured the special secrets and so on, but it's going to be recognized in the terminal. So when I hit execute, it's 200, right? I go to my terminal, and in my terminal where Celery is working, this one, it will recognize it and so on. It won't send email because I've not yet configured it. So I'll just edit it a bit here. Let me edit it from here because PyCharm knows how to autocomplete these things for me. I'm going to use something called fail silently true. So what this means is don't complain. you know, failure has happened, just don't complain. I restart my workers again, and then I'll try one more time. Execute, and it fails quietly. See this? It just says send email and whatnot, but for now, I haven't yet configured it as well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. I'm happy with everything so far. So let me stop my server and push the code here. So I have a git status command to make sure I know what has happened. All right, so these are some settings. You can use git diff to see what different files have changed and so on, okay? So yeah, I've just improved on the add Celery configurations and send email after post is created. This time I did not use a signal, a Django signal. You could use signals. There are several signals that can be used depending on the states of your database and whatnot. Okay. All right, so I'm going to push this origin main, and then I'll start the process of looking at, you know, at the blog and so on. So it looks like it's still deploying. Something failed before, so I need to investigate why it failed, right? While we're coding, it failed. And this deployment is new. So let me take a look at the old log, try to imagine what went on. Okay, and then let's see, could not translate this to that. It could be the database. It could be the database. So what I'll do is go here, and I'll manually put the internal database here. Yeah. Open this in a new one. It's still waking up. Go back to events and we take a look. Yeah, I think it's database related, but we'll see. We'll see. Let it first finish. Deploying. Yeah, what's deploying is this stuff here. That's what it is deploying. All right. As that is doing its business, let's go and continue the Celery configurations for render. Yeah. Okay, so this one is done. What else? Admin account. Some of these we don't have access to. If you don't pay for it, you don't have access to. I'll show you a trick later on how to create an admin user without stress. Okay. Yeah, this was the manual setup, whatnot. All right, it is time to look for Celery information. So Celery, Django, render. That's what I'm Googling. Most times people go to the AI and whatnot, but again, I try to encourage you to read and see what's happening, okay? So they're saying we can deploy these services to render in any of the following way, declaring. This is what we're doing now. So I am going to look at the example for render.com, okay? There's an example they give us in GitHub. So let's take a look at the example. And this one, they use Flask. Flask is a kind of Python framework and whatnot. So I am just going to borrow something from it. So it turns out we need to do something like this, yeah? And then something like a region is important. And then something like Celery Redis. So there's lots of interesting things we need to add. Okay. Yeah. Little interesting things we need to add. So let's take a look. I don't think I'll add everything. I'll just add what's missing. And let's see, services, databases. It looks like it's under a service. So let's go down here. Type, worker, then name, name will be Celery Worker. I'll skip region. I'll put runtime as Python. Okay. And then let's see, Celery build command. I will borrow build command from here. We need most of the things there. Or we don't. Let's see, we actually don't. We'll just do pip install requirements txt. Because here we don't need to manage server and so on. So auto deploy will be false. Okay, and then environment variables, envars, key will have Celery broker URL. Let's take a look at settings. You see that? They have to match, yeah? These two have to match. Celery broker URL. So I'm borrowing from here. What else? From service name, we'll call it Celery Redis. Type Redis property connection string. These are just URLs, special URLs on how to connect to some of these things. Yeah. What else? This one is the app, so we might need to do something similar to it. Yeah. So let's go to our app is called web. That's our app. And then what else we need to add in the environment variables? We're going to add that key, right? Key will be Celery broker URL from service name Celery Redis. The type will be Redis, and then property will be connection string. That will be the property. All right. I'm not going to do Flower. Flower is the EUI interface to make things really nice. And I'm not going to do it. So that one we can skip. Yeah. We need to add one more service that is just purely for Redis. I'll just do it just below here, and it will be its own type. Type will be Redis. The name will be Celery Redis. Plan will be starter, meaning the beginning plan. But all right, not starter, free, because I'm seeing down here free, right? Free, because we haven't yet paid anything. What else? Free. And then max memory policy, no eviction. I'm just following what they're talking about there. No eviction. Apparently it's recommended for queues. I'll leave this one empty like this. According to, just looking what's on here on the left in the example. All right. So yeah, we have updated the render file. Let's see, what else do we need? In render dashboard, blueprints, create blah, 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 connect your fork, deploy, try the web services, and so on. So I'm not so sure 100% what will happen, but we will see, right? I do have some failures happening here in the deployment. I need to investigate them by checking the deployment logs. And I keep saying these things don't, they don't always work, right? You have to keep searching. So I need to find out, where is this, yeah? What is this? So I'm going to copy it and go to my environment. I'm suspecting it's this one. So let's see. Yep, it's right here. See this? So I think it's database related. Right, I had my database somewhere in one of my windows. Let me look for it. It's not here. It's around here, yeah. And then I click view. Right. This one is a little bit, maybe they're different, right? A little bit different. Let's copy. No, they're the same. So what could be wrong here? Could also be take a look again at the events and see where it's coming from. Yeah, because they match. They match. Yeah. So there, let's take a look at this part here. Let's see if it's also in here. So this is definitely database related. Yeah, just checking out maybe environment again. And also this one, secret key. Let's see. Settings, secret key. Right. Okay, cool. I'm going to also do this one. Let's first push and we see if there's any errors, we fix them accordingly. All right, so that's the difference. Let's take a look. Git add Celery configurations, the blueprint. Let's give it a few seconds and we see what happens. Look at the events and we see what is happening shortly. As that's happening, let me be reading the render.yaml file just in case something is missing. These are all free. Yeah, this one. There's build command. I don't remember writing the start command for render. Let's see. The command I'm missing. Yeah, this command here. Because it needs to know how to run it. At the same time, it needs to also know how to run Redis. That this one here, I didn't put it. Let me put it in there. Oh. command is missing, so put it there and change it. Yeah, it has to be exactly the command that is working on our computer. So this command, this one here. Yeah, yeah, it should work. And then move the extra space. Okay, add start command. It failed again. Failed again. So still talking about this database, so it's time for me to Google it very quickly. And we see how, what exactly happened. So we've checked the logs. This is the recommended stuff. Most times it's things not matching. Missing environment variables. All variables are present and accounted for. I'll push this so it keeps building as I'm debugging what I'm seeing. Yeah. Okay, so from 2 years ago, someone had the same problem. They also followed the guide, just like we followed the guide. We're also following a similar format. You have to specify services region. Okay, so that maybe is the problem. Yeah, but we'll see. This is from 2022. So my database is in Oregon. My web service is in Frankfurt. Okay. So we're going to change the regions. Okay, the regions. We're going to add some regions. So I think their example, their Celery configuration example is probably right. Yeah, putting region. So we're going to put our region as Frankfurt. Let's take a look again over here. Region. Oh, I didn't put. Supposed to have been Frankfurt. I think that's why we had a problem. Yeah. I'm going to delete this and start it again. Yeah. My database is in Frankfurt, not Ohio. So we're going to create another one. Okay. Database is in Frankfurt, so we're going to create a new blueprint. And then also, I don't know quite how to label it here, but we'll see. Connect. Log. No, I don't want to pay. Okay, maybe you already have a blueprint, so let's connect it. Cost. Then I create a new blueprint instance, please. Right. No, looks like maybe key value is what we're looking for. Select key value. We might have to change the the services a bit here. So we have database in Frankfurt. I need to create something special for what they call the key value instances. Yeah. All right, so search for that. Render key value. Yeah. We need to first create it, make it free, and then so on. So, blog Redis. So let's call it blog Redis. Frankfurt. Free. Okay, and then policy, good for caches. Recommended for queue. I'm queuing. That's what I'm doing. So make sure you choose the one that's queuing. Hobby project. All right. I think it's good enough. Create value. Yeah, it's about 25 megabytes, not so heavy. If you want more, you pay. Okay, and then that one, internal. Yeah, I think this is good enough. Send this. Nice, it's now available. The region is Frankfurt. All right. All right, so now I have two services in my dashboard, blog, Redis, and then the DB, all in Frankfurt. Let's try one more time to create an instance of this without paying. Connect. They really want us to pay, yeah? So maybe we don't need to use blueprints. That might be a problem. Let me just go back to the original one of projects. Let's create a project. Log API. And then I'm going to add all my services here, okay? I'm gonna move this, move them all here. Nice. And then let's go to my project, my dashboard. Okay, so we have this one. And we're just gonna keep adding things, okay? So add a new service or a web service, blog API. Okay. This one. What else? Python main branch Frankfurt as well. Or everyone is in the same country. Okay, the build command is going to be ./build.sh. The start command is going to be that long command that we saw before. This one will be our start command. This long one, that will be free. I think also do like an extra one, okay? We have this one, the symbol ampersand, two of them. It means run this other one also, or I can also do a single. We'll test them out, yeah? Single one, like this. Oh, okay. Let me test it out on one side, okay? On one side of the screen. So we'll exit. Then we'll try. Okay? Yeah, these commands work. So we use that command to run two things at the same time, two scripts at the same time. So that's the command we're going to work with. And also just to be safe, let me just make sure my settings, we're going to adjust this, okay? We're going to adjust this to match the environment variables. So we're going to get those two like this, okay? And then we're going to do the same for the backend. I'm just going to do this. This. The values will be the same. Okay, they'll be the same from what I am seeing here. Oh no, they look different. No, they're same. They're same values. Same values, pointing to the same storage model. All right. What else? Environment variables. We'll provide them. Let's provide them. For example, the database URL. We need to provide the this one here, Celery broker URL. Celery broker. Another variable we're going to provide is debug. We'll keep it true for now. The value will be true. And that will disable it when everything is working, because debug mode exposes so much secrets. Debug mode exposes so many secrets. What else do I need? Let's see. Database check. Let's look at the environment variable one more time. Database, yes, check. Good. I think this is good enough. All right, now let's get the values. We'll get the values from the dashboards. So now dashboard projects, logdb, go down, get the internal URL, copy, paste. Go back here to the dashboard. The dashboard again. Okay, dashboard, choose Redis, scroll down, copy the URL. We might make a slight change, okay? Slight change, because we need the channel /0. Slight change. I think it will work, but take it with a grain of salt in case you're debugging. And to be safe, I'm going to stop my servers. I'm going to remove my render.yaml or move it to another folder, because you notice that it is not working without paying. So just keep it somewhere saved. Okay, so consider it deleted from the project. We're using the manual process. So we now have broker. We've removed the render YAML file, and let us add commit. Remove render.yaml. Add URLs for Celery Redis. That finally we push the code. All right, as it's pushed, I'm going to go ahead and deploy my service. And we wait for it to build and, you know, to log and whatnot. So we can see the events activity. Yeah, so it looks like we are going to, I'll give you these links in the show notes that you can work with them and whatnot. All right, so it's taking some time, we're almost done. Notice it's installing a bunch of dependencies. Obviously, it's I forgot to put the debug thing. Remember this one, static root. So I'm going to go ahead and add that and redeploy it. Yeah. So debug true. Edit it and say false. Turns out I might need to program it a little bit better. Let's take a look down here. Yeah, we need to program it so it's maybe it's this for it to work. All right, we'll see. We'll see. Debugging. To deploy. So one project can have multiple services inside it. We're keeping them in the same region for some reason. It will allow for traffic to go between the database, another key value store, and the API. Yeah, looks like it's running that last command. Let's see if it's going to be able to pick up things for us. Okay. So let's see, it's running my Celery. You can see the Celery connection right here showing up. And it is also running our server somewhere. Yeah, this last part tells me that that's a different thing or server altogether. Yeah. Let's visit the URL. Definitely not found because, we have a path to go through. Let's see, it was API. Let's try one more time, one of our old ones. Yes, this one here, API/docs. It will take us straight to Swag. And voila, you can see it is working on render.com. Now we do have an issue, and the issue is you don't have access to the command line, the shell, this one here. You cannot access it if you've not paid. Okay. So one of the techniques we could do is we can create a special management command. Remember those? And the purpose of the management command is going to be to create that administrator user. Okay. I think it will help. So let's go ahead and we will dump the management command, maybe here. Make sure you put it in a file that's appropriate. So I'll say create admin user .py, and the management command is a command that is you need to inherit from the base. Okay, so Django core management base, that's the basic command, and it has to have a handle method, So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to copy and paste some of these things that might be helpful. Oops, like this. Then plus command, inherit from the base command. Def handle. I'm not interested in this one. Let's see. Okay, I'll just keep the default. Okay. And then I need to get my user. So user equals get user model. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to say admin followed by an underscore and say user objects create get or create. Yeah. And rather, let's see. We could also just use an if statement. Yeah. If user objects dot filter. Let's just try. So many ways of doing the same thing. Yeah, you can even run out of things, right? So accept user does not exist, or some kind of error happens. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. I think it'll be easy. Get username equals admin. I'll do something like this. Okay. If the user does not exist, we're going to create the user. The least you need is a username. Then set password. This one is important because it does something special with passwords. It does something called hashing a password. So you can replace it with any password. I'll use a simple password, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very dangerous. Anyone can guess it. Then I save it. Okay. Then you can say self standard out, right? Successfully created admin user. This. I can also write a little message here, standard out, right? User already exists. Right? Gotta get rid of this one. It's command error. Good. When we're done, we want to test it, yeah? So Python manage UI, create admin user. So I already have a user, but that's some name. Okay. Maybe another thing I've forgotten is email. So email equals some email. Okay, I'll put my email as well, and it should work or something like that. Okay. All right. So next, we're going to do this. Commit, show, add management. Well, it's now a feature. Add management script. Before we do anything else, I need to also update the build sh file. All right. So you also want to run it here as well. Python manage UI create admin user. Now this is a trick to avoid having to spend money on render.com to access, for example, the shell. The shell is still a very important debugging tool. You'll all notice that sometimes when we deployed, there were problems. We did not know what was happening. Then you push your code. If you've done this correctly, it might detect that something new has arrived. You can see it and automatically start pushing. All right. For some of you, this is not working, so you have to deploy the latest by clicking manual deploy. Then you deploy the latest code. Okay. All right. Now, I need to first make the, I think we remember that we need to configure Gmail work. All right. So Gmail, Django. I'm Googling on one side, Celery. I'm going to follow much of the configure, things you'll find online and whatnot on how to send email. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Celery is there. All right. Redis has been installed. Tasks are there. All right. So now we need to, I think with Gmail, I need to go to my Gmail app and go to like something called secrets. Yeah. Manage your account. Secrets. Or app secrets is what we're looking at. Or application passwords is what we're looking for. And I'm searching on one screen. Apps passwords, yes, it's called app passwords. So you go to your settings of your, sometimes they'll ask for all sorts of security, which I'm trying to go through on the other screen. And then you get a window like this, app passwords. I'm going to call it render example because I'm doing an example. Then I'll create. Right, this password will disappear after some time, so I'm going to copy it very quickly and put it somewhere in my environment variable, my .env. I'll put it here and edit it after. Yeah, put it in quotations just to be safe. All right, because as soon as you click done, it's going to disappear. Oop, you will never get it. You need to create a new one. All right, so that is there. Why do I have an error here? Let's take a look. Create admin user. Doesn't it doesn't like the name. All right, so admin user. I think what we're gonna do, because sometimes the guys use the fuzzy matching and whatnot to see if you're trying to. Oh, I forgot to add the file. Oh, all right. Yeah, we're going to have to add the file and then push the code later on. Secondly, it looks like I am pushing my end file. I'm going to do add it as well, right there. And then I'm going to remove my end file. I don't want it to be cached. And also to be safe, I'll obliterate it. Copy paste this. This obliterate command comes from a special package called git extras. So when you start going more advanced into git extras, git stuff, you can use it. All right, let me just put this as email password for now. Equals. Then do my commits first. Git add dot add everything. Add management command. And then I obliterate my env file and push after. I'll have to recreate. It's still there, but it's no longer in the commit history. So I'll do a quit push origin main. It might not allow you to do it. So in cases like this, you force push, but it wipes or cleans out everywhere you accidentally put the password. This is very dangerous, especially in public repositories. All right. So that is done. Okay, let me continue quickly doing research on Gmail and Django email, yeah? Gmail and Django email. All right, so it looks like this is what some articles suggest we do. So in our settings py file, we're going to add the following configurations: email background, host user. Email host user, I think, is my email account, right? So make sure you replace with yours, or you can put it in environment variable. So OS environment get email host user, like that, and then email host password, which will be the, I'll change it to be that shortly. These other ones are defaults. All right, let's update it. Email host password, and then email host user, email host user equals, what will be my email. I'll get rid of the spaces. That. And then I'll test code after. Yeah. Important to test. So email host user. That one will be SMTP, or rather email host. We don't need this. Email host. Or rather, we need it. Yeah, looks like it's needed. Yeah, it's needed. Email host user. I'm going to put it in my env file. It's already there. Password. We divide the screen in half so that we can see everything that we need. Okay, email host and password. The rest is fine. Let's run our server. Run server. What is already in use? I'll kill all Python. Run server. Land on one side of the screen. Then Celery on another. Celery. Like this. This one. And then we test it. Yeah, we're gonna test sending a post. Make sure it still works. Admin and my password. It still works. Let's see if we can still get this. Try it out. Execute. Take a look at something. Admin. All right. Sorry, folks. This is render. I want to use it locally because it's important to test locally. 1 to 7. I wanted to use it locally. Yeah. So there. Then we scroll down. I'm gonna try this out. Remove the author. Hit execute. Take a look at the terminal. All right. So it's hard to tell if it has sent. All right, I'm going to edit the code out to fail a little bit more. Right now it's not failing. I can't tell if it went out, so let's remove this for the time being. Stop this. Start it again. Okay, restart this. Do another execute. Take a look at this. All right. Yeah. There's some other weird errors. The rating. Let's remove this. I want it to work very quickly. All right. Status code 200. No errors here. Click here. It says email as sent. And I check my email right here. And 0 minutes ago, I received a message. The post string has been created. I'm going to do another one where I'm changing the values of my posts. This is a test. I hit execute. Go back to my email address. And you can see right here, the post title is different, right? It's all automated. Awesome. So I think we're confident enough to push the code. We're going to do this. Control C. If I'm going to put back the code I had removed here because I wanted to see if there's any error. So the only thing I'm doing is sending an updated configurations for, so that render.com can be able to see them. Commit, git commit, add settings for email. We push our code. The code is not going to work magically, so we need to transfer some of these settings to render.com. Okay, so I'm going to go to my environment variable, environment, edit, and add some more things. Okay, all right, so we're going to add password, and this will be different from you. All right, I'm going to delete mine after the recording. We'll put the password right there. We add another variable, email host user, and I'll put my email right here, like so. I will hit save and rebuild. Then we just wait. We'll test it as soon as it has been built. Yeah? Let's go to events. We'll take a look. It's deploying. Usually, the latest thing, if it comes within a few seconds, it cancels the old build and then uses the latest build. So you might see something in that nature as well. I think here checks out. Yeah, what's important is remembering that we have a certain configuration we changed. This one here, the start command, okay? It's now a bit longer. We use the ampersand command thing to add new commands to a single command, right? In the terminal. If you want to run two different commands at once, use ampersand. And we need these processes to be alive until the application crashes. Yeah, this is not an issue if you have a lot of funding. If you have some money, you can spend quite a lot on these tools. And hopefully in the companies you end up working at, the stuff will really, really work out for you. Okay, and this closing of things so they can have a single area right there. So it took some time to get the build working, but now it's working. So we're going to take a look at the, we're going to test to see if the post request, right now you can see there's nothing, no posts. Let's take a look. We're going to try it out. Make sure you log in with your exact user and whatnot. So I'm just editing it to match the expected JSON, right? This is from our production. I'm just going to click execute. All right, and we see. Right, 200 is a good sign. Let's take a look at the log. Could be a bit hard to tell, but let's see. Yeah, there's a log here, and you can see that the log has sent an email out. I'm going to refresh one of my emails to see if they allow. Sometimes these companies might not allow us to send email immediately. Looks like the email is not going out. All right, I'll have to debug it a bit more. Let's see. What I could do is I could make this a bit more noisy to fail a bit loudly. Let's do just that. So send the task project. I'll just say fail silently, true. Then I'll push the code. Get this. Changing. Yeah. I'm gonna fail silently. Let's see. I'm gonna fail silently and try again. Yeah. So fail quiet, loudly. Debugging, sometimes you have to keep turning your whistles on and off to see if certain things are working. Okay. Events. Gonna deploy in a few seconds after pushing. Then we test. We'll test the SAM API, this one, SAM payload. As well, I will post the recording and then share once it's completed. All right, everyone. So a bit of some sad news. Turns out from September 16, 2025, they no longer support the use of those ports, SMTP ports for email. That is why our email is not going out, right? So apparently they saw that many people were abusing the system by sending spam mail and whatnot. So now they block these ports. But please be aware that there are scenarios like this, where you need to explore the cloud provider. You need to ask them, do they enable some ports, access to some ports and so on, PORTs ports, right? So there's no need to stress too much about deploying Celery, especially for email. You could do it for other little things, for example, maybe producing a report, right? You could create a task where you generate some kind of report, def generate report. The report could be a summary of, I don't know, posts created that week, right? So maybe you can, create a report, dot objects, dot create, then you summarize everything that has happened, right? We can also use this for special AI tasks, maybe it's end of the week and you as a business, you want to know how much money have you made, what could you improve, where could you focus on and so on. So Yeah, that's it. However, for those who are or who have a little bit of money, I mean, I can recommend you try out a website like Hetzner, right? I'll give you my a link later on in class, which you can use. Hetzner can give you something for about €3, where you can practice. With particular requests on Hetzner, you might want to write to them to open that port, the port for email. You have to write to their support people, or click on that and get support for that. Okay, but just because something works on your computer doesn't mean you've lost out on the education bit. All right, you are still well informed. You know how to do a few things, and maybe in the future when you join companies, you'll be given opportunity to try these things even more hands-on. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. I know this was not a positive outcome you expected from using Celery and email, but Celery can be used for any other task. It doesn't always have to be email. It can be tasks that are specific to the business you work in. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and have an amazing, amazing day.